Hi everyone, and welcome to Paper Pumpkin Week here on Creative Chelsey. This week I'll be sharing some fun, creative, alternative card ideas you can make with the supplies from the June 2025 Paper Pumpkin Kit called Full of Charm. The cards in this kit have beautiful floral images mixed with gold accents. There are so many fun images to play around and which you can create a lot of alternative cards with. The kit makes a total of 9 cards, 3 of these different designs. And of course, it includes coordinating envelopes. For my first alternative card that I'm sharing with you today, I'm going to be using blending brushes to color in this space behind the die cut. This gives me the chance to switch up the colors to work for any occasion. Each month I take the contents from the Paper Pumpkin kits and make alternative projects. My cards are easy to follow and can be made by both experienced or new paper crafters. You may need just a couple other products to complete them. You can follow along with me using supplies you already have or purchase any products you see me use from my online store. And the link to all products is below in the description or on my blog, creativechelsey.com. To begin, you're going to grab the card base from the kit that has kind of like the little texture in gold foil. And you're going to cut at 4 inches and then rotate to 4 1/4. And this is going to be our top piece where we do our blending. And then this is our bottom piece. And then we're going to separate the 2 pieces with a little accent color in Pretty Peacock cardstock. And I do have these fancy border dies, and I thought it would be fun to use them. You could use any border die that you have, or you could even just tear the cardstock, and that would make a beautiful edge as well, just to separate those 2 pieces. I'm just going to go ahead and run this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and then all of our pieces will be ready for our card. So there is my border. And then we're going to take from the kit, we're going to take this large floral die cut. Be really careful as you take it out of the paper. And we're going to flip it over so that it's on the white side. And that's going to really give us the opportunity to color any color behind it. Now, it's a little large, and so we're going to trim it off so that we can use these other elements on different cards. So what we really want is just this main floral and then the large, they're open leaves. If it's like a closed leaf or a closed flower, we're going to try to remove those. So starting here on the right side, I'm going to remove this flower. And when you cut it, you want to keep the same width for that leaf on the bottom. I'm not sure if you can see that. Okay, maybe after I'm done, you'll notice. So I'm not cutting the open leaf. I want to keep that open leaf. And so I'm going to try to keep that same width as I cut around to remove this one. So then come around that to the other side and remove a couple more. Let's see. So that is underneath my label here. I'm just trying to decide if yeah, I think I did remove these solid flowers. But you're going to keep the open flowers. So if it's solid, go ahead and remove it. And I'm just going to go ahead and just cut it off because we're going to cover up most of this area here. So if it doesn't quite look right, that's okay. Okay. So in the end, that's what that area looks like, which is probably why I covered it up. Then as we move around, we have another solid leaf. Go ahead and remove this one. Again, try to keep the same width for those open images. And then right up here, a solid flower and a leaf that we can remove. And then we've got this one here. And then this one up here. Okay. All right. So what we have left are just the open images. So open leaves, open flowers, no solid images are left. Those we're going to save for another alternative. Okay, let's go ahead and do our blending technique. I'm going to let you know what colors I'm using, and just to make this go a little more smoothly, we are going to just lightly transfer this shape onto the background. So to transfer that shape, you're going to need a pencil, and just rotate it so that you're getting most of the image on your card base that we cut down. And then for this, you're just wanting to do just a kind of a really basic outline on the outside of the flower. So don't worry so much about getting into all those details. You're just wanting kind of an outline. So this one is the leaf. So outline kind of the leaf area, and I'm doing the inside and not the outside. You could do the outside if you wanted to. I think that you just get a little better shape when it is the inside. And then we can just kind of make some marks here as to where that color is. We have a different color right here. And if your marks come out too dark, you can always lighten them up, but you'll want to erase them before you blend, because once you add the ink, if you do any erasing, then the ink will actually get pulled off and you won't have as dark of a color. This is just going to give us the best knowledge of where to put our color. If we don't do this, then we're kind of just going to add color wherever, and it doesn't get in the areas that we want. Okay, so you can see that it's not very dark, it's very light, it's not very detailed. It's just going to give me just basic shapes where I want to add the color. And again, if I think a couple areas might be too dark, I can just kind of lightly remove some of the pencil markings. But you really don't need to worry about this too much because you are going to cover them up with ink. Okay. So you're going to want to have your stencil nearby so that you can reference it. So I'm going to start with my Daffodil Delight. This is not a coordinating color of the kit, but I do love adding just a touch of yellow to my florals. I think it just helps brighten things up. I'm adding that color up here on the kind of the closed flower on the left. And if you get a little heavy ink, that's okay. We do want it to be nice and bold. All right. Maybe I'll add a little bit over here where my smaller flowers will be. There we go. it's nice to have a couple touches of yellow. The next color I'm going to use is Timid Tiger. This is a coordinating color with the kit, and I'm going to do a couple orange spots as well. Let's do one up here. If you do need to like mix your color off a little bit, you can do that on a scratch piece of paper, or even if you're using the glass mat, it's always a good place to add a little extra color, making sure that it all blends nicely. So just make sure that you're blending your colors. It's going to give you the best look. So there's that orange one right there. Very cute. Another thing I love about adding the blended color is you're going to start to see that gold popping through the color. I love gold foil. The last floral color I'm using is Berry Burst. This is also coordinates with the kit. And I'm just going to do that right in the middle with that nice big flower. Okay, if you want, you can kind of lay these down. Make sure it's looking how you want it to. If you want to add any other colors or darken anything up, you can. I think that's looking really good. So now I'm going to do some greens and blues in these leaves. Let's start with some green color. I'm going to use, I've got Mossy Meadow. We're going to start with a little bit of that color. This one's very strong. So just a little bit of Mossy Meadow right where those leaves are. Couple small leaves down here. And then a bunch right here. Okay. Once you've got the green down, if you would like to add just a touch of blue from the Pretty Peacock, this is the color that comes in the kit, and I thought it was fun just to add just a hint of blue to like maybe the tips of each of those leaves. Okay, just to bring them in a little closer to that Pretty Peacock color so that we can use that as an accent color. Perfect. Now we're going to just lay this down, make sure it looks good. Again, if there's any colors you want to brighten up, I think I might add just a little more yellow to this area. It's feeling like it got a little overcrowded. Okay. So to attach this, you're going to want to use glue dots and pop them in some of the like more solid areas. So make sure you just add those to the back in some solid places, and then you can add this over the color. Just continue to adjust until you get something that you like. So something like that looks really good. I love how the white really makes the color pop. Okay, so now we can start adding these things together. I'm going to begin by adding my decorative edge to the back of my blended piece, and I just want to make sure that the edge is straight so that it lines up about the same placement on that design. And then I'm going to take my scissors and just trim it down to fit. You could also use your paper snips if you want. And then you're going to grab a card base, and I'm using a card base of Petal Pink. I like the lighter pink color. It kind of goes really nicely with that blended Calypso coral. And I'm going to start with the bottom piece first and just add that at the bottom with even borders along the sides and bottom, about 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to add the top piece over that. Again, matching up my borders and making sure it lines up with that bottom piece as well. I do have this little piece that's hanging off. You can leave it or you can clip it, trim it down to the card base if you want. Or you could try adjusting it so that it's not coming off so much. And then we're going to stamp our greeting. This card is quite easy once you've done the technique. And the greeting that I'm using is Let's Celebrate You. And I'm just adding it to a little flag. So just ink it up in the Pretty Peacock and stamp it at the top. This piece of cardstock is 1 1/4 inches wide by 1 1/2 inches tall. And you're going to do it near the top, and then you can take a pair of paper snips and flag the bottom. And I like to flag the bottom by making a snip in the center and then going from each corner to the top of that slit. Just like that. So I'm going to attach this with some dimensionals and then just add it to that corner where I had to remove some of those pieces. I just lined it up with the edge on the right. And then to add a little more of that gold bling, these sequins do come in the kit, and I'm just going to add a couple around the image and my greeting. And whoop, where did that one go? Oh, right there. And then your card is all done. If you're interested in getting more information about Paper Pumpkin and subscribing to get your own kit, you can use the link in the description box below. And if you would like to get more information on how I created this card or see close-up images, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.